What do you think is the most important skill that you can train yourself with FPV? I'm curious. I wonder if anyone thinks right away of this. You got it in your head. What is it? The most important skill to know for FPV. What do you think helps you the most? What do you think is the most useful? I'm just curious. I think some people are going to say throttle control, which is very important and stuff. I want to talk to you about something else. And I think this is the most important skill to have in FPV. It's also one that I've trained for a long time. The number one thing that they say about me is that I have really big, which is really ironically funny because I was born with one. There, that was a little bit too personal. But anyways, there you go. Now you know something super personal about me. My mom used that against me to make me super insecure about myself and stop me from engaging in bad activities at an early age. Let's not talk about childhood trauma. The most important skill in FPV is spatial awareness. I've been driving since I'm 16, and I've been riding motorcycles since I was 25. Now I'm 38, and in all that time, the only accidents I've had on motorcycles is people hitting me when I'm parked. So my motorcycle gets hit when I leave it. No matter how careful I am, if I try to park it at the beginning of a stop or in front of a fancy car, it's just, no matter what, people hit my motorcycle. Because in Toronto, we have the worst drivers in the world. I truly do believe this. And because we have such bad drivers, every time I go out for a ride, and I don't go out for rides for fun, I just drive places. I don't really believe in riding my motorcycle for fun. I go to work or I go places. I've gone on crazy long drives, 6 hours. The number one thing that keeps me alive is spatial awareness. Cyclists look at me like I'm crazy because I don't wear protection. I wear a helmet because I have to. Even if I didn't have to, I would, because it protects you from bugs and stuff and stones getting flicked in your eyes. To me, if I was wearing all the protective gear that keeps me safe and I can't turn and see my blind spot and I'm sweating because it's super hot and I'm so uncomfortable, I'm going to be so emotionally disturbed that's going to be so much easier for me to get into an accident. So to me, the most important tool that you have on a motorcycle is not your gear, it's your eyes. You have to pay attention to everything. So we're going to tie this all into FPV, but I want to show you a few of the things that can happen. Well, you'll understand. If you drive, you'll understand. But I want to give you some perspective. Okay, so riding a motorcycle, and you come to an intersection. Okay? You come to an intersection. The two most dangerous things that happen to you, basically all the time, is somebody here is turning right. They're turning right. You're here on your motorcycle, and you're going, and they're turning right, and they come right in front of you. So every single time that there's a road over here, you have to be aware of that. You have to get ready for the cars that are coming this way. Because if you don't, and you're going at a speed that you can't slow down, or that you can't stop or anything, you have to know the exact speed that you can stop in time to avoid this. And you have to be ready for it. Every time you see a turn, be ready for someone turning right. The other most dangerous thing is someone turning left. So there's a car here, and it wants to turn left. Now, let's say there's another car right here. So you're in the blind spot, so this car doesn't even see you. It thinks that after this car goes through, it can turn, and it could take you right out. So because of that, every time that you are basically coming behind a car, you don't want to be behind the car, and you don't want to be next to the car. You want to put yourself as far as you can kind of to the right, so that this car can see you, or that you're going at the same time as it so that you avoid it. You never want to be over here, you never want to be over here, you never want to be over here, because these three places can basically get you killed if you're not paying attention. Then there's another interesting thing in Toronto. Legally, I'm not allowed to go into bike lane. But if there are cars parked on the side of the road in a double lane, so let's say this is a double lane, and there are cars here, and this is a lane and cars are parked. I can actually go here, and that's not really lane splitting. I'm allowed to do that. But every single one of these cars could open up their door and kill me. So as I'm driving, I see every single car, if they're on, if there's people in them. I'm paying attention to every single one of those things. And the other thing, Mr. Policeman here with his radar gun, and I'm over here. Guess what? I have eyes the same as his. So if I see him before he sees me, he's never going to be able to give me a speeding ticket. Never. The only speeding ticket I ever got was because it was pouring rain. And the crazy thing is this was like in a place, you know, where they're always there. They're always there. There's a bloody hill. The speed limit is 40. And there's a hill that when you go down it, you're going 50, just rolling down it. You have to hit the brakes to not go past the speed limit, which is ridiculous. And it's pouring rain. I'm freezing my butt off. I just want to get home. So I want to get home. You know, I'm freezing. It's a terrible time. So there you go. It's like I'm not feeling good. I'm emotionally distressed. There's the cop with the gun. Bam, he gets me. And I got a 10 over speeding ticket. That's the only speeding ticket I've got in my life. Why? Because I wasn't paying attention. Paying attention is what keeps me alive. And riding the motorcycle so much, the number one thing that happens, like people get into accidents because they're not paying attention, because they're thinking about other things, because they're emotionally disturbed, because they're bringing like their problems into the car. They're listening to music, they're drinking, they're distracted. So I feel much safer in a motorcycle than even in a car. Because of that spatial awareness. I can see everything, I can feel everything. I don't use the mirrors on my motorcycle. I always check the blind spot, always. I always pay attention to every single little thing on the road. So how that transfers over to FPV is that you're flying this thing. The only difference is you don't die. So I've lived a life riding motorcycles my whole life, and everyone looks at me kind of like I'm crazy or like that's not safe. And to them it might not be safe, and for most people on a motorcycle, yeah, they probably would die or they'll have an accident, and it is dangerous for lots of people. But it's not as dangerous for me because of that spatial awareness, because of paying attention to everything, because the moment I get on my bike, it's like a video game and I have one life. And I'll die if I screw up. So my eyes, from the moment I get on the bike to the time I get off, I'm looking at bloody everything. I'm paying attention to everything. I know where the car is behind me. I know where the cars are in front of me. I'm seeing every person on the road. I'm seeing every car on the street. I'm seeing if they're on. I'm paying attention to every single little thing, and it feeds my ADD, because I have crazy ADD, but when I get on the bike, it's like the ADD becomes like, whoa, my brain is being used at full capacity, and it's amazing. I can do that, and it's always like that every time. There's no complacency. There's no, okay, I'm good at it. Now I don't have to worry. There's none of that. I'm paying attention like my life depends on it. And I'm seeing everyone as if they're not seeing me. So I pretend that no one on the road sees me. And I have a loud muffler that's annoying, but it makes sure that they know that I'm there. That's kept me alive. This one more thing. If I see a gap on my motorcycle, if I see a space that I can get into, I either can get into it or I won't. In my brain, I know what I can and cannot do. And if I can do something, I don't waste my time. I do it. Once again, people could say that's risky, but if I know I can do it, no wasting time, do it. Because some of the worst drivers are indecisive ones. They don't know if they can do something. They slow down, they stop. They don't know what the heck they're doing because they're not thinking, because they're not paying attention, because their brain is everywhere. And those are the most dangerous drivers out there. They don't feel the gas and how it accelerates. They don't feel the brake and how they can slow down the car and do things gently. When you're switching gears, the way that it feels. When you go, like when you switch gears at that perfect time and how sexy that feels. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, but if I have a doubt, if I don't think I can do it, then I don't. Now in FPV, same thing. When I'm flying in sketchy areas or doing things that people think are dangerous, I kind of treat my drone like me on the motorcycle. I don't go as hard. I do things a lot more gently. Things I know I can do, and I do them. Or I can't do them, and I don't. If I'm out with friends, or that's usually when I fly the stupidest. If I'm out with friends and we're somewhere that's safe, there's a video where I'm trying to do a power loop around a school bus. I'm not good enough to do it, but by the end of that day, I power looped a school bus 4 times. So if you can power loop a school bus 5 times, you get a free discus frame. A 3.5 thickness. Still, no one's done it. No one does my bloody challenges. But someone said, oh, that's easy or whatever. So I'm like, there, do it 5 times. Get yourself a 3.5 thick discus. Whoever does it first, yay. Send me the video. Tag me. School bus challenge. When it comes to flying the drone, there are the two most important moves that you can really learn that help you with this are yaw spins. Because with a yaw spin, you can look around and see everything. And every now and then you do a yaw spin and you see what's behind you and you see what's around. Then the other one is a split S. Because if you're going up to something and you do a power loop, when you go under and you come over, there's a point where you don't see stuff. Whereas when you do a split S, you see everything. And then on the way down, you see everything. So just thinking about that, I just want to get your brains kind of like thinking about that. It's a different type of flying than, oh, I'm just going and this is beautiful, right? I like aggression. I like aggressive flying. I'll push myself to the limit in places that are safe. At a park, I'll do stupid things because it's a park. I don't worry about like hurting anyone. If I'm out on the street diving a building where there's pedestrians underneath and whatever, I am careful. I'm very careful. And it may not seem like I'm very careful to someone that would never do that, and that's understandable. Most people haven't kind of risked their life the way I have almost every day. So to me, I don't have that kind of, it doesn't feel like I'm doing something risky because I've done it so much, and the only thing at risk is a 200-gram drone. So I'm not doing this with a 5-inch. If I fly a 5-inch and I see a person, I'm scared. Like, I actually avoid people. I don't want to be around them. But when I'm with my cute little drone and I see people, hey, that's part of the fun of FPV, going around with the tiny little drone, saying hi to them, and they don't freak out. They're not scared. They're like, oh, wow, it's cool. They wave. It's cute. I want to put that out there because I get a little bit of flack or whatever it is. I just wanted to help you, though, understand that. Whenever I get someone telling me whatever, I'll explain that. You know, it's like I take my kid on my motorcycle, and people think that's crazy, too. I would not risk my baby's life. Oh, it's like someone that is a diver, you know, and they dive off a big cliff, and it seems like it's dangerous, but they're trained and they've done it so many times, and they work their way up to that. But with my child, I'm even more tame. I'm even more careful and defensive and aware of everything because that's my kid's life, and there's nothing I care about more than my child's life. Also, when I'm with a new pilot, when I'm with someone new, I don't want to take you and get you to do stupid things. And if you are new and you see someone like me doing things and you think that's cool or whatever, I don't know. I can't say I don't do it to impress people. I've always been an entertainer. I want to kind of do something and be like, look, I did that. Because it's like you accomplished something, so you're proud of it. And it makes me happy to like do a good dive. It's really satisfying. But in no way do I want people that are not ready to do that or don't have spatial awareness to be doing those things, because that is reckless. There's a big difference between knowing how things are working and doing them kind of with precision, knowing the limits and staying within them. Yeah, basically you have to know your limits and stay within them. And then when you're not in sketchy places, that's when you try and push your limits. That's where you can be reckless, because you're at a park and no one's going to die, no one's going to get hurt. Mind you, you're not going to kill anyone with a little drone anyways. And if a car was to ever hit my drone, the drone does not have the power to stop the car, to break a tire, to break even a windshield probably, because it's 200 grams. So all the risk is on my drone. If anything more was to happen, I would have to accept responsibility. Going out and doing certain sketchy things, you're responsible for what happens if anything goes wrong. Just like if I do anything bad on my motorcycle and I die, like that's the risk that I take being a motorcycle driver. You don't want anything bad to happen, go in a room, close yourself up, nothing bad will happen. But nothing good will happen either. So all of us have to kind of like know where we're safe, know where we're not safe, and act within that. I wanted to say that. I want to show you one more thing, okay? Let's go back to the drawing board. Okay, last lesson. Trajectory. Another very important thing to understand is the momentum and movement that you're creating when, let's say, you're going to do something people would say risky, or let's say flying around people, which you shouldn't fly around people, right? Which I love flying around people. So here's a person over here, and let's say there's another person over here. I'm never going to be flying in direct line with this person. You see, I'm never going to do that. I'm not going to fly up to them and jump over them. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm always going to think about where the drone is moving. So if I'm, let's say, coming from high and I'm going to swoop down past this person, I'm always going to try to fly like this. I'm going to fly past them. I'm going to fly this way. If anything goes wrong, let's say my radio dies or anything comes apart. If anything goes wrong and I'm trajected this way, I'm not going to hit this person. If I'm flying directly towards them and anything goes wrong, I can hit this person. So it's a very subtle thing that I don't know. It's very important to think about this when you're flying, because it's just, for me, naturally, I'm always thinking about that. I'm thinking about the path. I'm usually, if you see me going around people, I'm going around them. I'm swinging around them, because if there's a person here and I head towards them and I swing around them, if I'm doing a orbit around them, if I lose any control at any point, at no point in this circle am I flying into them. I can go right next to them. I can go even this and do a yaw spin right here, right next to them, and keep going this way, and in no way am I in a path that's going to hit them. If you're going to fly around people, which you shouldn't do, I'm not saying you should or anything, but if you are, you always should consider the path that you're on. You don't want to be diving buildings when there's people right at the bottom of the building. You don't want to be flying into people ever. You can avoid any of these problems by not doing it at all. First, abstinence is the best form of protection. Nothing bad's going to happen if you don't do anything. But if you are going to do something, consider that. Consider the path that you're on, and never put yourself in the path that you're going to directly hit people. I think about at the park, there's this area where a whole pile of people are watching the sunset go down, and I'll go do some like power loops and whatever, and I'll fly through them, but I'll always take a path that is like, okay, there's all these people sitting here, and I'll take a nice, there's not much satisfying as like flying low through this path of people, and they're seeing it. I'm going through this path, right? Or I'm avoiding the direct thing with people, unless, let's say, I go up to them and I slow down and I'm going really slow and I'm like, hey, look, I'm the drone and you're looking at me. So does that seem like a pile of nonsense to you? Does it make sense? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, what do you think? Joshua Bartwell saw one of my videos and he said, reckless, whatever, and that, I guess, kind of triggered this, like, kind of, you know? Is it an excuse? Is it a reason? I don't know. I don't think I'm special or better than anyone else. I think that I'm not the greatest pilot. I'm not. I'm a really good designer. I've been designing and working on drones almost every day for like 3 years, so I think about things and I see things a little bit differently, and if you've been around long enough, I think you understand that. I know that I rub some people the wrong way, or like people see me and I make a bad first impression, but I'm just trying to make this video so that, like, I guess you can see how I think, or my perspective. Not that that really matters, but like if you look at me and you're like, why does he do those things? Why does he take those risks? It's the only Those are the only things that make me enjoy FPV. Like, I enjoy designing drones, and if I fly, I want it to be like, I want it to be a rip. I want it to be like something exciting. At the same time, that excitement is, it's not reckless in my eyes. I also really don't believe that risky pilots is going to be what destroys it for the hobby. I think more like people are using FPV drones to kill people, bomb people. In Dubai, a drone flew into an airplane and that was the end of FPV for them. I have a bad attitude, and that attitude is that we're only going to have it for so long as we are allowed to have as much fun as we can. But if FPV became something that we could only do on a Mac field, or only go fly a drone through a park, that's not FPV that I want to be a part of. Unless maybe we had like some cool freestyle parks like Rotor Riot or them. Like if you had a cool park and places to go, then maybe. But it would take all the excitement out of it for me. The thing that excites me the most is kind of like seeing something, being like, can I do it? And then doing it. Not trying to do it unless like I've trained to do it also. Like there's this one stupid spot that has a gap where it just destroys all my drones. So it's like I don't even want to go there. I don't even know how to really train for it because it's just going to destroy my drones. And then I have that thought that it's going to destroy my drones that makes me destroy my drones. Diving, I always bloody turn to the right. I'm like, I need to start turning to the left on dives. So I got to start practicing that too. But then if I start turning to the left, am I going to have less control and risk going into the building or something like that, right? Also nighttime, like nighttime is a great time to fly, like really late at night when people aren't around. Maybe a few people. I like when people are around. I like, most of the time, in 3 years, I've had 2 people. One guy rode his bicycle, and I followed him on the bicycle, and he came up to me, and okay, sorry. and another guy was at the park, and I was at the park first, and he came up to me, he's like, I don't want you here. I'm like, well, where are you? I don't want you here. I'm like, well, where are you? Tell me where you are, and I'll avoid you, but I'm not going to leave. If you want me to leave, you leave. Like, I'll avoid you. I'll be respectful. That's fair. Other than that, though, it's been like 95% positive. No, like 98% positive. Like, there'll be people all the time asking questions, getting into it. I've taught a lot of people and got people into FPV and excite people about FPV. The experiences with most of you guys is positive. I think you get it. Or maybe you don't. Maybe that'll help you. And that's that. Smoochy smoochy. Oh, what do we got? So we got a whole playlist full of FPV stories. If you enjoy listening to me talk and whatever, go watch the FPV stories. They're more fun. Like high effort posts, I guess. Okay? Yeah. Oh. Smash the like button. Join my Patreon. $2. Come on. Join it for $2. If I get 2,000 of you, I'll be a full-time creator. Or, we might ruin the hobby by then. Okay, toodaloo.